Hello everyone, and welcome back. My name is Wolf, and in today's video, we are going over a brand new add-on by Shapescape called Extreme Survival. According to the store page, it says, survive the extreme. No more punching trees, keep an eye on your body temperature, and be careful where you go. Face fiery nether storms, chaotic ender storms, and adapt fast. This add-on includes storms and other weather effects in all dimensions, cracking ice and quicksand, new blocks, tools and items, and visual effects. Quick shout out to Shapescape for letting me get in early on this add-on so I can make this guide for you guys. Oh, and speaking of extreme weather, have you guys ever played The Long Dark? It's this brutal survival game where you're stranded in the frozen Canadian wilderness after a geomagnetic storm wipes out all technology. No power, no help, it's just you versus nature. You've got to manage warmth, hunger, and wildlife, all while navigating blizzards and the deadly cold. It's super fun, and if you want to try it out, the Survival Edition is only $8 on instantgaming.com. I'll leave a link in the description below if you want to check it out. So, Extreme Survival. I've been referring to this add-on as like RLCraft Lite. It has some of the same feel, but without all the complications and custom mobs. Here, you're mainly going to be dealing with world temperature and new extreme storms. Each of them are unique per biome and come with new debuffs you can sustain if you're out in these new storms for too long. For example, while in plains and forests, you're going to see new enhanced thunderstorms. And we're talking heavy rain, wind, plus a lot of lightning, like way more than vanilla thunderstorms. It almost seems like the lightning seeks you out. You also have hailstorms, which will slowly damage you if caught outside, so seek shelter immediately. In deserts and mesas, you have sandstorms, or dust storms. You guys ever see The Mummy?
Oh my god.
Yeah, just like that. Plus, scorching heat that causes nausea and weakness. In higher elevations, you're going to have enhanced blizzards. Not only just high winds that push you and other mobs around, but also heavy snow. If you stay still for too long, that snow starts to build up around you, slowing you down and freezing you to death. Not to mention, if you go above Y100, you start getting altitude sickness. In other dimensions, there are also brand new storms as well. In the Nether, you have Nether storms, a firestorm that will spawn wither skeletons around you, plus just being inside the Nether is boiling hot. In the end, you have end storms with teleporting bolts of lightning with frigid temperatures. Don't get too close to the edge, you might just end up being teleported into the void. When spawning in, you'll be given a few new starting tools. A guidebook, a settings tool, a vitality compass, and 2 freezing protection potions and 2 overheating protection potions. I'll circle back to the potions in a second, but let's start with the guidebook. It gives you a few tips and explains most of the things that we're covering in this video. The settings tool, on the other hand, allows you to turn off certain mechanics. You don't like freezing or burning up all the time? Turn that off. Lightning getting too much? You can turn that off too. But the Vitality Compass is your main tool. It tells you what your current body temperature is through this thermometer UI, as well as the world temperature. Now, it's important to know that your body temperature and the world temperature do not correlate. Just know that the warmer or colder you become, the worse the debuffs get. Now, besides the normal vanilla debuffs like weakness, slowness, nausea, mining fatigue, there are some new ones, as well as new triggers added with Extreme Survival. Things like a broken leg, applied when you take fall damage, and it limits your movement until healed. It's kind of like enhanced slowness. Seasickness, which is nausea that takes effect when boating during a storm. Now there's another one called Wet, applied after being in water or having been exposed to snow or rain for too long. This drops your body temperature and you need to dry off near a heat source. Muddy, applied from quicksand or mud, gives mining fatigue and drops body temperature. You have to wash off the mud by standing in water, lava, rain, or snow. Altitude sickness is applied when you go above Y110 and it causes nausea. I kind of saw it kick in around a little earlier than that, but in order to prevent altitude sickness, you have to wear the altitude helmet, which I'll talk about more in a minute. As if that wasn't enough, there are some changes to the comforts of vanilla Minecraft that you may be used to. Remember how I said that it's like RLCraft Lite? Yeah, no punching trees for wood here, guys. If you do, you'll take damage and receive 30 seconds of mining fatigue. But there's no flint in this, so how do you get wood? You gotta make wood scrap with sticks from either tumbleweeds or just the normal way of breaking leaves. You can then craft 4 scraps to make planks. Only then can you make your first set of wooden tools. Oh yeah, and by the way, sleeping won't save you anymore. If extreme weather effects are too great, like you're too hot or too cold during a thunderstorm, or even if your health is too low, you won't be able to sleep. There is a mod on Java Edition called Immersive Weathering. It's actually part of the mod pack Biohazard that I did a playthrough of for Halloween. One of the aspects of it is ice that it's more dynamic. If you stand on it for too long, it begins to crack and will break below your feet. Same goes for extreme survival. Ice will break right below you unless you have Frostwalker enchanted boots. Same goes for sand. Deserts are no longer just vast open areas of nothing. Hidden quicksand traps can now be found throughout normal and badland deserts. Always keep a shovel on you just in case you find yourself in a bad situation. Not to worry too much though, there are plenty of new items for you to use that will make surviving this harsh new world a little bit less harsh. So, the first one is the altitude helmet. I mentioned this a minute ago, but you make it with leather, glass, and a phantom membrane. This helmet will allow you to travel into those higher altitudes without getting altitude sickness. Next we have cooling armor and warming armor. The protection stat on these can be increased based off the material used to craft it. So if you're using iron or diamond or netherite, but the amount of warming and cooling stays the same. Now back to those potions I mentioned earlier. You get 2 of them starting out, but they are the overheating and freezing protection potions. The effects last for 3 minutes, and the overheating protection is made with a snow block and a water bottle on a brewing stand, while the freezing protection potion is actually made with a water bottle and a magma block. It's labeled incorrectly in the guidebook. There are also backpacks. These are much easier to use and have way better controls than the RLCraft backpack system. You can make a tiny backpack with a few pieces of leather, 2 string, and a chest. All you need to do is interact while holding it to place it on the ground, interact again to open it, crouch and interact to equip, and hold crouch to unequipped. So simple. You can increase the size of your backpack by combining it with more leather and higher tier materials like iron for a small, emerald for the medium, and diamonds for the large. Tiny backpacks hold 6 slots, small hold 9, medium hold 12, and the large bag holds 15 slots. One of the most interesting parts, while also slightly confusing, is the new special blocks. That being the heater, the cooler, the thermometer block, the wind turbine, and the wind sock. Okay, I lied. The wind sock is pretty straightforward. It measures wind direction and power. The more segments of the sock that are up, the stronger the wind. It's the rest that took me a while to understand, mainly because they involve redstone. First off, I love this idea. It's a great way to utilize vanilla mechanics. However, I don't know if all of these are 100% working. And I want to preface this by saying that I am very far from being a redstone guru, and I could probably be completely wrong. Alright, first, some of these blocks must be placed on an iron block to activate. Starting with the heater, made with iron, smooth stone, and a lava bucket, it can be used to increase the temperature of the surrounding area. Its radius is about 10 to 15 blocks in all directions, and the effect can stack with multiple units. All you need is a redstone signal to activate it, a switch, a redstone block, etc. You can tell it's been activated when it lights up and the orange color appears. Now the cooler, same principle. It cools the surrounding area, but it's made with iron, cobblestone, and an ice block. This one doesn't seem to light up at all as far as I'm aware. I had to use the vitality compass to check the world temperature to see if it was working. I'm now also realizing I think the texture for this block might be backwards. The color only shows when it's deactivated versus the heater, which shows when it's activated. Well, moving on. The thermometer block would be really cool if it was 100% working. This block is made with copper, glass, 1 redstone, and a vitality compass, and can be used to fully automate a climate control system for you. First, you place an iron block, then the thermometer. Take a redstone comparator, and then a redstone repeater, and now you can hook up multiple coolers and heaters along the redstone line to automatically adjust when the temperature changes. The comparator reads the redstone signal from the block, and then that signal strength is really small, so we use the repeater to kind of boost it a little bit further. That allows us to place more heaters or coolers, or both really. Now after testing this, it does work in the overworld. However, it does not work in the Nether or in the End, unfortunately. I've already given my Q&A list to the devs over at Shapescape, and they will be working on a hot patch as soon as possible. The last block I think is interesting, but also sort of pointless, and that's the wind turbine, made with iron ingots, iron trapdoors, and a redstone block. It can be used to power redstone contraptions based off of wind power, which yes, I know sounds cool, and there's always at least sort of a breeze going when this add-on is active, but that's just it. The key part of this block is that its power relies on the strength of the wind. If the wind dies down, so does the power. It's much easier and much more practical to just use something like a redstone block or a torch or really any power source block, because that is consistent. But again, I'm not super great when it comes to building with redstone, so if you're watching this and you are, let me know down in the comments if I completely butchered that, or if there's something that we need to do to maybe change the output of some of these blocks. There's definitely some potential here. I just don't think that I'm the best one to show it off. Last but not least, there are a few new structures that you can find throughout the world. There are now mountain cabins that can be found in high elevation biomes and are filled with survival gear like warming armor or altitude masks. You can sometimes find the hiker remains, is what I'm calling them, or like they're just frozen skeletons or skeletons laying out in the open. They are the ones who didn't make it, and they may leave behind supplies for those more fortunate. And finally, in deserts there are now oases. Oases? You can find an oasis in deserts. These are now small safe havens where players can cool off from the desert heat, making survival there a little less extreme. But that is everything that comes with the Extreme Survival add-on, and if I missed anything, guys, let me know down in the comments. If you have any questions or find any weird bugs, you can let me know down there too. I'll try to get that over to the devs as soon as possible. If you found this video enjoyable or helpful in any way, do me a favor and drop a like, and consider subscribing. I don't just do surface level showcases, guys. If you're here for the real guides and breakdowns, then you're in the right place. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for coming and watching, and I will catch you all in the next one. Wolf, out!